Welcome to PAO Fans International. You're joined by Panathafan and Nick. Welcome, gents.
Evening,
Hello,
boys.
good to be back.
It, what it,
Absolutely.
yeah, in what could have been a very good week, has turned into utter frustration, especially after today. So let's get back to it. Straight away. Sturm Graz in the Europa League. The positive. We can start on a good note with the pod. Europa League 2-1 win over Sturm Graz. We opened the scoring through Swiderski in the 18th minute, where the ball found Zaruri in the back post. He did a Travella cross outside of the foot, found Swiderski for the header in. Sturm Graz equalised in pretty much their first chance in the 34th minute with a wonder goal in the 34th minute. And in the 74th minute, Calabria, with a bit of a good solo effort, beat the defender and then beat the keeper from pretty close range to give us all 3 points in Europa League. How do you guys see the game?
Nick, I might take this one first,
Go for it.
and then you can have AEK game first. How's that for
Go
a
for it.
trade? I don't
Go
know how
for it.
fair that is. But look, for me, it was an interesting game in that we didn't really concede any chances. I mean, we they had that goal scored against us, but I mean, it was a freak goal, and there's not much that Dragowski could have do to stop that. But outside of that, I don't really recall Sturm Graz creating too much grief for us or creating too many, really, any clear-cut chances, and feel free to correct me if I've forgotten any. But it was a game that really were never at risk. Now, in saying that, we didn't create too many chances either, but I thought that from a strategy point of view, Benitez set up the team well. It didn't really look like it was going to be a go-ahead Eagles scenario happening all over again. It took a little while to score that second goal, but it was a deserved scoreline. And that's what I like to see in Europe, where you don't have to win by two, three goals like we did against Young Boys. What we just need to do is control the tempo, really give the opposition team very little, and at the same time take our chances. So it was a textbook win, and that's exactly what I want to see. And that's why not the most flashiest of games, and it was in poor conditions in terms of the rain and how wet the pitch was, but ultimately that was for me a good outcome. Obviously, a win is a good outcome, but the fact that we didn't feel too threatened, I thought was a good outcome. The other part I'll call out was a couple of players there that I thought surprisingly stood up. And Zadori, for me, it's probably the best game I've seen him play outside of the hat trick he scored against Young Boys. He sort of ran up and down that left-hand side, sort of controlled that side of the pitch, seemed to be full of energy and connecting well with players. Made a couple of mistakes here and there, acknowledge that, but ultimately though, I thought that he was quite effective. And I'd love to see a bit more of that him. And I wonder if Benitez has had an impact in terms of the way he's man managing him in off the pitch and dressing room and whatnot. So certainly a positive from that point of view. Our defense was very solid as per usual. Calabria coming back, I think well, obviously the goal made an impression, but overall it wasn't too bad either. So that was pleasing as well. So nothing but positive statements all around for me.
Nick, what do you want me to go?
Uh, Delighted, absolutely delighted with the result. And that's what matters. That's what Panathafan was alluding to, where it's results over performance all day long, especially in Europe. We were efficient. Not our best performance. It doesn't have to be. You just need to get the 3 points. And exactly as Panatha was saying, we controlled the tempo. Game was well and truly played on our terms. Other than that freak goal that they scored, they never threatened us and they never looked like scoring. And with a heavily depleted team, that's the biggest positive. The biggest takeaway from that game was we controlled it with so many key players missing. It felt like half a squad was missing. And I was worried how we were going to line up in this game, and the back three caught me completely by surprise. And then you had Zaduri play one of his best games, playing in the unfamiliar role of like a wing back. Then you had Calabria returning on the other side, and it was both wing backs that were our two best players. First goal that there was involved in the build up, knocked it across. Then I thought, I can't remember who crossed it. It might have been the initial one, Calabria. I thought it was overhit. Then it ends up in Zadori's path. Great cross and great headers. Swiderski, he's great in the air. We saw in the second half as well. He turned a nothing chance into a chance with a header. Swiderski. Then at 1-0, I felt like it was cruise control and completely against the run of play with their one and only strike. The Georgian, Kotsolis, however you say it, he didn't even celebrate the goal, I think, from sheer shock that it actually went in. Dragovski was rooted to the spot. No one saw it coming. Then as time progressed, given the conditions, it was torrential rain. We were missing so many players, as I said. And there was no, as Panathafan was saying, no go-ahead Eagles disaster on the horizon. I never thought we were going to concede again, but I honestly didn't think we'd score again. I thought it was one of those unfortunate ones, that one shot, one goal, we've copped it again. It's petering out to a disappointing draw, but Calabria delivered big time. Really nicely taken goal. Volley, Bakasetas accidentally assisted it, I think. And then from there, we saw it out. And that's the main thing, the 3 points. And we are so nicely positioned in this league phase of the Europa League. I know we had that go-ahead Eagles disaster, but we are sitting in a great spot, even with that disaster, taking that into account. We've got 3 games left, 2 of which are at home. It's a step up in quality from Sturm Graz, I think, but it's in our hands, and that's the most important thing. We're becoming now what we wanted all these years in that a regular on the European stage, that big game European know-how. We're building that DNA back again.
Yeah, I found this one a bit of a weird game because
Very.
I found the scoreline 1-1 at halftime a bit flattering for Sturm Graz. We had all the
Absolutely.
control. We controlled the pace of the game, everything. I thought that there was looking great out there. Bakasetas in a more center mid as opposed to the attacking mid. I thought he was very good as well. Um, very good captain's performance. But we just controlled the game, the pace, everything. Sturm Graz was struggling to get any momentum. All their work really was done by the midfield because that's where their strength lied. But the free goal from them, and then after we did all the hard work to get to 1-0, possibly could have gone 2-0, but then you know come second half, I thought it was a really poor and slow second half. What happened from the first half to the second half? I thought it was a very slow game where it just looked like we weren't controlling the pace and the tempo. We just looked a little bit less interested in the game. I was wondering where the goal was going to come from because there wasn't too many chances created. If you look at even the stats, it'll show there wasn't a whole lot of chances created what we normally would. So, and it was just worrying signs, and it really took a moment of individual brilliance as well from Calabria. I think it was the 1-2 with Pantovic was involved in it, and it ricocheted off Bakasetas for Calabria to just get the ball, beat the man, and then score it. But we did deserve the win. I'm not saying that we didn't, but it was just, yeah, it was just two different halves where we played a really fast, controlling pace to a really slow pace. But more importantly, it's 3 points and it's pretty much 1.5 feet into the, in the ground with, next stage progression. Obviously, 1 point is required from the three, depending on how the for and against goes, but the teams that we face, Roma home, Plzeň, Victoria, the Czech team at home, and is it not Ferencváros away? So look, the Ferencváros and Victoria Plzeň team, they're probably a step above Sturm Graz, but they're beatable. I don't, I really see them equal to us, and those kind of teams will determine where we stand in football because those two teams are European mainstays. They're always in those competitions like the Europa League. Victoria's always like on the edge thereof from the Champions League, playing in Champions League qualifying. Um, So coming up against these teams will be a very good test to see where we actually stand at the moment in Europe, especially under Rafa, where we've seen quite positive results and I think quite positive play. Um, Especially from our wingers. I think we're seeing the best again of Tete and we're seeing the best of Zaruri. I think they've been given a bit more freedom to play the attacking game, not part of a, and it's not a dig at Rui and Contis, but I think they played a more rigid sort of system where players weren't expressing themselves, taking on players compared to what Tete and Zaruri is. We're seeing them a bit off the leash, and I think that's working wonders for them. I think that we're seeing them play better football. You know, Zaruri's got good and poor moments, not or turning over silly mistakes, but I think he'll learn from that. But Tete, we're seeing his some of his threatening best at the moment. So and it showed against Sturm Graz, and it also showed even against the lowly Panathafan Rare. Um, that they really threatened them. So yeah, overall, really good win. 3 points, 1.5 feet in the door for the next stage Europa. So yeah, we're sitting on 9 points, sitting on 14th as well. And yeah, next game I think is in what, 2 weeks, I believe. Oh no.
A week and a half.
Yeah. So we've got obviously a Greek Cup game, we've got league game, and then we got the game. So yeah, some good, interesting times. Now we started off with the good, and let's go on to probably the lowest of lows, like the really shit, to be honest, because that's what I can say about this performance. I won't say about the performance, but I'd probably say the individual mistakes. This morning or today, Panathinaikos went down at home 2-3 against AEK in the Athenian Derby. Luka Jovic opened the scoring courtesy of a header. We'll talk about the mistakes, so we won't go too much detail into the 8 goals. They scored from a non-existent penalty in the 47th minute. Duba saw red in the 64th minute, courtesy of another blunder from us. Tete managed to get one back, 71st minute. It was a cross that came in from Zaruri where um, it found Tete's header and the A keeper had slipped at that point and it just went in comfortably there. Jurisic gave us, oh, sorry, then AEK player Marin got sent off 85th minute for a second yellow. Then Jurisic gave us all the hope that we can probably take the win in the 90th minute when he scored from outside the box from his low shot. And then Jovic again, 93rd minute from penalty, which was a clear penalty. Nick, take it away.
With the league, I wrote the league off months ago from September. I've been saying all along we're not in title contention. Even if we won today, I still honestly think we wouldn't have been in title contention. It's just really, it pisses me off the manner in which we lost. And it pisses me off. Like AEK before this were winless in the last 9 derbies. It just had to be us at Leofortos that ends that streak for them. That's what pisses me off, and it's the manner of the capitulation. After we do the hard work to equalise at 2-2, this game was defined by bonehead individual moments of madness that killed us. From Swiderski's penalty miss and why he was even on the penalty to begin with, to Palmer Brown, to the red card, and for me the big one was conceding the last penalty after you do the hard work to equalise it at 2-2. A few seconds later, you can go and concede that Stonewall penalty. Unbelievable, inexcusable at this level. The goal scorers, Jurisic will put a shift in as always. And Tete, as you were saying, Sturg, he's really turned the corner under Rafa. That's about it. There's a lot of bad. The whole backline as a whole really struggled in this game, from red cards to stupid moments to lapses. Even Dragovski as well. Not that he's to blame full on like 100% for any of the goals, but even the penalties, he didn't even get close to him. Swiderski, before these last two penalty misses, he had a great moment, great strike rate from the spot. He was ice cold. Now he can't land one, and we've got the Ethniki captain in our side, and our captain, who's got a pretty good record when it comes to penalties. I would have had him on it. And we're 13 points now behind first. And we're only the 1st of December. It's now it's going to be 16 years. 15's happened. Next year's going to be 16 years without a title. And this game didn't define our season. It's the losses, the drop points to the minnows, the likes of Kifisia, Levadiakos, Volos, even Ardis, that one we lost away. That's what's killed our season, and we had to be near perfect to just get in contention. And it's unrealistic. Everyone's going to lose the derbies, but it's the minnows that have cost us. It's, as I said, this particular game individually was the manner of the capitulation. Just as we were celebrating rescuing a point out of nowhere, we go and throw it away at home. And this is probably the first time, again, Rafa's not to blame. Rafa nor the ref are to blame. Ref I thought was okay, actually pretty good. Rafa read the game wrongly, but it's the players that cost us with their individual moments of madness on the field. Like the back three that we set against Sturm Graz worked, whereas this game it didn't work.
Did it not work because of the formation, or just the individual players themselves?
I thought playing at home in this one with personnel back, especially our most important player under Rafa, City Vega, I would have gone back four in this game. And then you've got the fullback conundrum. Mladenovic, he clearly doesn't trust him. He's a natural left back. I would have played him. Then you've got the right back conundrum with now Jedvai, Kotsolis, Calabria. That's another really questionable there, where he had Jedvai playing like that right centre back in the three, and he had Calabria as the wing back.
Yeah, because Jedvai in the few games he's played as a right back, not as a right centre back. So
exactly
that could be his first game this season as a right centre back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the question is
pre-season,
why?
But I probably disagree. I thought Rafa set the game up well. I thought it was the tactics that really, not the tactics, sorry, the personnel, the individual personnel that cost us the game. And I'll get to it later why I think it was the personnel. I think Rafa set us up correctly for us to win.
Oh, you wouldn't have changed it up after the Sturm Graz formation-wise. Because I thought with City Vega returning, we're playing at home, a sold-out Little Fordos, that would have been a prime opportunity for us to really go for it. Because AEK were tired coming back from their big win against Fiorentina.
Nick and Sturg, you made the point about you thought Rafa set us up well. I can see why that's the case. I'm not arguing against that at all. Yeah, on the flip side, though, I'd argue that AEK probably played the perfect game against us. Not that they were good.
Do you reckon? Yeah.
They weren't
they
good.
Were better. They were better because they made less mistakes.
I think they played that pressure game to create those mistakes, to seize opportunities, and that worked to perfection. So they weren't the better team, far from it. But
they were just more the effective team.
And that was their strategy, though. You can clearly see it. And that pressure game, if you think about the second goal, sorry, the red card that happened with Duba, I mean, that was purely because of the pressure they put on him. Or put on Eric Palmer-Brown, who passed to him, and he was immediately under pressure. I've somewhat felt sorry for Duba because, yeah, he got a red card and, he cost us that penalty. But in both occasions, he was put in that high pressure position due to the mistakes of others around him. So I can't entirely be upset with him because he's trying to cover the mistakes of others, and he's a poor guy that cops it in the end.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that AEK probably played an effective game, not a great game, but an effective game because that was really what they were trying to do, make us make mistakes and pounce on them. And I don't know if Rafa can do much more to stop that.
He wasn't the reason we lost it. The reason we lost was the players on the field with their moments of madness.
Yeah.
But I just think he could have, he should have changed it up.
You still going, or you want me to go
Me?
on my
No,
rant?
no.
No, but other fan.
Let the rant begin.
Look, I thought we played actually good. I thought we were definitely the better team, but it's a derby. The better teams don't win. It's the more effective, efficient teams that are going to win. Um, you know, I thought we actually played better. The stats wise across everything showed that we were the better. We were the better team stats wise, but stats don't always paint a picture either. So, Ike played a pressure game, and why I say we played better is all three goals came from our own mistakes. Ike worked for them, but to force it, but it was really our mistakes that forced the goals. So if you look at the first goal, it was from a free kick, bit outside the box, like what, 40 meters, 35 meters out on the side. The foul line remained as it was. Jedvaj drops a meter back, and 8 players are running on, and he's kept 3 players on. That's a big brain fade. Number one. That's nothing special from 8. That's just Jedvaj, even as a centre back, not holding the line, just dropping back when he shouldn't have dropped back. That's goal number one. Then let's get to the next play, which why I've got my picture. If you can see, that man, one of my favorite players of the last probably decade, especially Greek, because Swiderski came and he had a very good record with a small sample, as Alex would tell me, for penalties where he had only missed once with puck, but only really had taken like 10, 12 penalties thereof. Um, and the last penalty he took was a pretty poor attempt that last time. Who was that against? I think
Malmo.
yeah, Malmo.
Even this one was poor. Today's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost in the middle. And this was, again, a poor attempt. Now, Forty would get criticized, especially last season. He only scored penalties. As Swiderski has shown, penalties are not an easy thing to do and to score. There's a lot of pressure in them. That man behind me in my picture, as the captain, scored all but one for us, and he could bury him, and he could take a load in the team. And I've got obviously, and I'll come to Swiderski soon after my match assessment, because I will take aim at him as well, despite him scoring a goal against Sturm Graz. Um, so that could have been 1-1. Then we go to the second goal where Jedvaj's got the ball, carries it with a heavy touch. They take it off him. They counter attack. Duba comes in, slides. He wins the ball, and they get given a penalty. Yeah, you can never blame a keeper for penalty not getting close to a penalty saves. It's a lottery. They have to commit to a side, and Jovic hit a Panenka, so you can't do anything about that. Um, so that's 2-0. Obviously Rafa changes things up. We get the goal back through Tete. We get the red card because, again, another brain fade. So this is brain fade number 3. Eric Palmer-Brown should never have made that pass. That pass was never on, in my opinion. He should have gone down the line. It was a safer option to go down the line. Instead, the space between him and Dubar was quite significant. And there was an Ike player not too far lurking, and he still made that pass, and the Ike player got to it. We know Dubar is not the most fastest player, so that was a big risk of a pass, and he got essentially Dubar sent off because of just a brain fade. It was just a brain fade of a pass. You learn in park football. One of the first things you learn is never pass across goal, and it kind of did, and that's what happens. Yeah, the changes are made. We got fortunate. Strakosha tumbled, slipped. Did a
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard, what they say, just slipped. So, that they got one back for us. Um, and I thought that there's been very good lately since Rafa. I think he's been, and I think even you see that thing with um under what's called Alonso, where I think he allowed those wingers to just flourish, just free play, and I think that's where that really relishes. Um, then obviously the introduction of Jurisic as well. He's gonna come in, go hard, just give it his all in what he does, and he's got a really nice goal from outside the box. I thought that point we're gonna win. I thought we had Ike on the ropes. Was
Yeah.
Dessers came in and he was already making quite a bit of impact. It was just his presence alone was giving Ike defenders some trouble. Um, and that's where I thought we could have won it. And then, we're celebrating the goal. We come back and there was like
Straight away.
yeah, it was like a long ball from Ike. Eric Palmer Brown's trying to shield the ball, called Dragowski. And once again, you learn if the keeper's not calling for the ball, do not call for the keeper to call the ball. Eric Palmer Brown should have just completely dealt with the ball, kick it out. That's what he should have done. He should have not tried to control, shield the ball and wait for Dragowski to come out, who was not committing to it. So I know a lot of people on social media are blaming Dragowski, but no chance, no chance. You should know not to ever call the keeper to come out when he's not committing to it. He had ample time to deal with that ball, and not only did he not deal with it, and then Dragowski had to come out, he also tripped purposely Koita. It was a stonewall penalty. Uh, just brain fade, brain fade. Yeah, we also have to take note that we could have gotten another penalty for a handball from Ike in similar circumstances that Seren gave away a penalty earlier in the season. I think it was against Kifisia, was it? Or one of the earlier games in the season where Seren gave away a penalty with the handball and I get away with it. So, just frustrating where handballs are given one week, not given another week. But, 3 points goes to Ike. That's all they care about. They got the 3 points. And, why I said I was going to take aim at Swiderski. He's getting goals. I know Panathafan going to tell me that. He's scoring goals. He's got 4 goals in Europa. Yep. I understand. I acknowledge it. But he's not getting the goals when it matters most. The key moments, your winners guy that's scoring a couple of goals. He's not performing in the big games. He's not performing in the derbies. He's just playing absolutely rubbish again in the derbies. I think he's been really poor in the derbies. We've seen Ike with 40. He hasn't scored. I know you're trying to think he hasn't scored. Desez has scored against Bulk. It was Yedvai and I can't remember who opened the scoring. Um, but um, yeah, against Ike, we saw 40 run rampant against Ike. Always against Ike, he would run rampant. We don't have with Desez hopefully back. We need a striker that's gonna just step up, especially in the big games. You need like a big game player that's going to perform in the derbies, that's going to perform in the big matches. We've seen Swiderski at his worst, especially in the big games, and when we've actually relied on him, we saw it, Malmo stepping up, weak penalty. We've seen it in the Palk derby. He was fairly bad, in my opinion. We saw it, he got a goal against Sturm Graz. That's where people are going to disagree with me. But even today, he was, nowhere. We've seen him. I'll cast your mind back to Feyenoord game where he could have shot, but he went down diving, penalty, like whinging for a penalty. He could have shot. It's just frustrating to see that he's not stepping up and owning the role as the lead striker, performing week in, week out. You're going to have the odd bad game here and there, but in the big games that we need him, he's just for me not performing. I think he's been good against probably your smaller teams, and that's great to have. But for me, in the big games, when we need your striker to perform, he's not doing the job for me. I'm waiting for your rebuttal.
Mine.
No, no,
Oh yeah, who are you talking about there?
you, but not the fan. I can see you smiling.
Oh look, I've said it before on this pod that Swiderski is not my preferred style of attacker, so I wouldn't say he's a favourite of mine. And I was just trying to when you said he hasn't scored in a derby, I thought he'd scored one last year, one of the derbies, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Maybe against Bale last year. I can't recall.
I'm gonna search it up while you talk.
Search it up. I've got a feeling he did, but anyway, it's irrelevant to be fair because in my mind, he's not our first choice striker. He's stepping up whilst Dessers has been off. Hopefully, Dessers is now fit and back again, and now he can be our first choice striker. Tete, he's coming in January, so he'll be fighting for that second striker spot behind Dessers. So you could find that Swiderski falls back in the order to number three or even number four, depending on how Bundovic goes, because Bundovic is getting more minutes, which is great to see. So I think to be fair to him, as a backup striker having to step in, he's done okay. He's scored goals. Yeah, he's not scoring a critical goals, and that's disappointing. But I don't, if we were relying on him as a first choice striker, I'd be very disappointed. But he's probably doing what you expect the second or third choice striker to do. That's why I'm not too critical of him. Same way, and dare I say it? I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, but our former third choice striker, Jeremiah, he, I had to mention him because he was third, not second, but third choice, and yet you could rely on him coming and scoring a goal in the 95th minute and getting us a win.
He scored two goals in the playoffs last season, one against Bulk and one against AEK.
Yeah, I thought so. But look, it doesn't change your statement, which I pretty much agree with in terms of his output.
But
So,
I know you've just said he's back up and probably second or third, but he's probably thinking he should be the starter. But for me, he's not. He's not this good enough.
no, yeah, we can think all he wants. The reality is that, as you said, Des is, that was his third game since he came on board, which is crazy that we're in December and he's only just played minutes in his third game. But his first game, he scored against Olympiacos in a derby. And that's what I want from our top striker.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at. I think, especially in these big games, we need someone to own it, and I think Des is going to be the guy that will be owning it, especially in the big games.
And we saw it when he was at Rangers. Like he was scoring regularly in derby games against Celtic. He was scoring regularly in European games as well. Yeah, had a reputation for missing absolute sitters too. But there's no shortage of goals that he scored in big games throughout his career. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna move away slightly from the football match talk and we'll focus a bit on the interesting press conference, this time not of Alafouzos, because I thought his press conference was a bit of a dud, but I think the next two guys that recently did a press conference didn't obviously get as mainstream was Kotsolis and Corona. Now, they are our new sporting and technical directors, respectively. Kotsolis, boy from Panathinaikos, since been involved in the club since 5, 6 years old. Made his way through the grades, played for Panathinaikos, even as a third, second, first choice. Won was in the won the league with us, has won cups with us. Um, Went away to Larissa, won a cup for them against us, and now he was at Kifisia, did everything the proper way in learning his trade, and did it very well to come back to his boyhood love of Panathinaikos. And Corona, who we got from Valencia. Now, depends on who you ask. Now, there was a Spanish guy that replied that he was happy he was gone. It was a problem. But the facts of the matter is with Valencia is that they have a really bad owner who's not putting any money in, and it's been up to Corona and all on him to sell their assets and just use those money to fund players from the limited funds that they get. So he's been appointed at Panathinaikos as the new technical director, where he will work with Kotsolis, Rafa, scouts, and come into us with obviously finding players. Now, he's got very good scouting network, scouting search of finding especially good second division players where they've made them into good La Liga players, Corona. But obviously for a club like Valencia with where about 25 years ago they were in the Champions League final or mainstays in Europe to see where they are. Obviously their fans are expecting better. Did you guys see the press? Did you read anything or what did you think, Nick?
I did. No, I saw it. I thought it was very good, as you said. Definitely a whole lot better than the other Fulgos one. And I put that down to my major takeaway from this, and that's why I really enjoyed it, was a sense of humility from both of them. More so from Kotsolis. I felt like because we know him maybe, or he was the dominant voice, he spoke more obviously without a translator, but Corona as well, humility. They're both so happy to be here. Clearly they're going to work together, and questions are asked like, who's going to actually conduct deals? Who's going to identify players? Who's going to conduct negotiations? And the response was from both of them, Panathinaikos, not me. They're putting Panathinaikos above themselves, which Papadimitriou, that was clearly not the case. So Baldini alone has done wonders already by removing Papadimitriou, which was long overdue, and bringing these two in. I can't complain. Corona, we know less about, and Valencia, like we hate our owner, and we're poorly run, but Valencia takes the cake. Their owner takes the piss out of him to their face, and he's on the other side of the world.
He operates out of Singapore.
Yeah, when I first before we heard his name, Corona, I was like, who in their right mind is going to leave La Liga, a club in La Liga, to come to the Greek Super League? But then, once it was Corona and you dig deeper, and it's a no-brainer to come to us. He's got a point to prove. Kotsolis definitely has a point to prove, and it's great because he knows the club inside out. He's won trophies with the club, and it's what you said, Sturge, where he's built Kifisia from the ground up, literally with no resources, all on his own. Outstanding job in 5 years.
What about you, Panathafan?
No, I caught the probably. I didn't see the video itself. I read more the key statements made by each party and got feedback from different sources and how they presented. And I think by and large it was very positive, in line with what Nick said. So to me, the fact that Kotsoli sort of called out that there's a key number of key aspects to the club that need to improve. I'm absolutely wrapped that we've got people now in the club that recognize what needs to improve, recognize that there's areas like scouting that need to be substantially beefed up, and Yeah, I actually feel more positive about the club direction than I have ever since Alafuza took over with these two appointments. So, and if I go back to Corona and the Spanish fans, where a number of Valencia fans were saying, "Oh, good luck with him. We're happy to get rid of him, etc., etc." As Nick, you pointed out, from La Liga, and as you pointed out, the difficulties of the club that he was dealing with. They're perfectly good reasons for him wanting to get out and for him underperforming. And then I'll counter that by saying, yeah, but we had Papa Dimitriou. No, if you replace Papa Dimitriou with the ER off the street, it
With
would have been
anyone,
an improvement.
yeah.
So for me, I see nothing but upside from a very low base. The I'll say one more statement. I'm somewhat curious. Is Corona going to be in the videos with a stadium, the Lego stadium in the videos when players are signed? I'm curious
You
to
stole
see.
that. You stole that.
So, yeah, or is it
Even
Kotsoli?
Kotsolis wouldn't.
Yeah, is Kotsoli going to be like, I can't remember the last player we saw. I can't remember who it was, where I reckon Papa Dimitriou was in the video more than the actual player.
Zaruri,
Zaruri,
Taborda,
yeah.
Yeah,
both of them.
yeah, yeah.
This is true.
And can I add as well, I know we're talking about the two boys and Sturgis throw to you, there was also the head of marketing appointed too. So I wonder if that's going to sort of complement the videos as well with the model stadium.
Look, in regards to the interviews, I thought there was some really good points. I'll start with Kotsolis. So obviously he wants to bring in and focus more on the data analytics that was non-existent in the club. So he's very data analytics driven. He also made an interesting comment not to sign, you know, players' names like just for the sake of it, or filling quotas. They actually want to sign good players, not just because they're Greek, not just because they're got a big name, whatever, reputation, etc. They want to sign good players. So I thought that was a really good, really interesting couple of pieces from Kotsolis as well. Corona, I think what he did well was his time at Valencia was toxic. He could have easily thrown even some subtle shade, some subtle digs at Valencia. He kept it very professional, and I think I respect that. I actually respect that. Yeah, our good friend Lil Fortos did a good analysis video as well, and he even made the comment where you can tell he just looks like a free man, happy, Corona. So that's obviously signs of a man that's ready to work and ready to that looks happy and ready to like step it up now. His time obviously at Valencia would have been miserable. So um yeah, I think that's positive for us. Um in regards to that. So obviously, we're not going to see instant results in January. I think this window, because we're already bringing what Tete and what's been said is Bandelidis. I'd be more curious to see if there's going to be any exits um, from the club. Uh, I'm probably I'm probably even looking at, Yedvai potentially still on the chopping block where he was reportedly like that earlier. And obviously we've got what, three, four players that are just sitting there collecting paychecks from training isolation. So what, Max, Villena,
Max.
um, who else is in that list?
Nikas.
Nikas will probably go on loan, but yeah, I also see him as surplus to requirements. Taborda also is looking like he's heading towards a loan. It was reported initially to Levedakos, but I see him going to Kifisia, and that's how we get Pandelidis. I see that happening. Um, that's how we
There
get
was,
Pandelidis.
there was a rumor about Swiderski potentially being sold now.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeremejeff will be gone as well. His contract expires in
That's for free.
end of the month. Yeah, so we'll lose him for free. Um, wouldn't be surprised. I think what's helping Swiderski is his goals in Europe, so he probably would fetch a bit of interest in that as well.
He would. Now
It
that
would, yeah.
Dest is back, Bandovic is seems to be tracking along nicely. If he drops the third choice Videtsky, I think he'll want out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
Bandovic is an okay player, but he's
He's
very
good.
raw. I
Yeah,
think
of course.
he's very raw. There's a few things he does well, and a few touches are a bit off. You see, that's not the signs of a quality player. He needs to find the balance on some of his touches and some of his plays. But I think he's not too far from being like a solid player. You know, a very handy player. Not a star player, but I think he's got the signs to be a good squad player. If he can just iron out those little issues that he's got.
But
Um,
if today coming in, he should be theoretically second string, Bandlovic third.
yeah,
Uh,
but
uh,
Panathafan can play on the wings as well. He can opt in as that second striker, even sit behind the strikers as well.
But I see him getting regular substitute minutes and just slowly building him up. I don't expect him to set the world on fire. He was always a project player, in my opinion. Young, give
Yeah,
him time
yeah.
to develop. Yeah.
He didn't come for too much either, so yeah, that's fair. But yeah, obviously he needs good coaching and from there, like improve his game. But I think he's a solid player to have. Um, so you know, that's the press conference out of the way, so we'll see what will happen in the near future. But now in the present, we will go back to the football talk. We do have two upcoming games before the next boys take over the next pod, and they are Kifisia in the cup. That one it's going to be interesting because I think Kifisia they're going through a little bit of a rough patch at the moment. Um,
They'll want to prioritize the league themselves.
yeah,
In terms of, I don't think that they'll be in any danger of going down, but they'll still want to go all out in the league just to confirm that.
they've had a couple of rough games against obviously Bulk Olympiacos. They did come away with a win against Panathinaikos, who will probably most likely get relegated. But they did get once again a player sent off. So it's almost like 3, 4 games in a row that they've had a player sent off. So um, got a question, games in a row, and 3 out of 6 games they've had a player sent off. So their discipline at the moment is being a bit poor. It's obviously gonna see how they line up. Will they go full strength, really risk it over the cup, or prioritize the league where they'll play in a few days after that? Um, where, who do they have? They have Volos and they're playing them away. So they got to look at, Leto will obviously look at how he'll prioritize whether it's worth risking the League Cup instead of focusing on the league, the cup rather, and then focusing on the league. So that been an interesting one. Then we go back to a bit of a team where their former coach made a comment about us. Now he's no longer there, so a little bit of karma. We do have Larissa away. Um, this game is going to be a tricky one. I know Larissa is not doing too well in the league. Obviously, already replaced their coach. Um, they're sitting second last candidates to get relegated. What do you guys see in either of the games?
I think it's very simple. Both games, the moral of the story is just win. I don't care how we play. I don't care if it's 1-0 Metazzori off someone's backside, just win. Just win. Because we've thrown in the league, we've thrown too many points away to the minnows, as I said earlier. And the cup now is very important for our season. Okay, we're out of title contention, but if we want to start from the Europa League, the cup might be our best bet, and
Yep.
it's silverware at the end of the day. I'd say just win, but with Kifisia, I'd like to see more rotation. It's a game for Dessus, for example, back from injury.
That's what I was about to ask.
It could be a game, maybe Kotsolis, see what he's about. Maybe Bokos, someone like that, one of the academy kids.
Well, you have to have two
Maybe
players.
Tabonda, yeah.
You have to
Yeah,
have two players, what, under 21, was it? Or under 23? Under 21's one of the two.
from
Under 21, but I thought it was one player under 21 has to start in the starting 11.
Oh, I can't remember. I know it's definitely two players need to be in the lineup, whether like full team, but I'm not too sure whether one needs to start. I could be wrong. I could be wrong
Yeah,
on that. But
I'm interested to see Taborda whether he actually gets a start or not. Because if he doesn't
it'll
start
be
this
Kelly.
game, then he's definitely out the door. So
Yeah.
to me, it's a big statement to be made with him in this game.
the question I've got is which game would you start Desses? In the
This
Kifisia
one,
or
give
in
it
the
shot.
Larissa?
Give it
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, I agree.
He's been out for 3 months.
I
If
probably I
if he
probably
grabs a goal early doors and we're up comfortably with a lead, take him off and then we can reassess one game at a time.
I would go Kifisia as well because I would want him in against in the Europa game. I'd start him in a heartbeat. But
Yeah.
but I could see Swiderski starting that just because of his goals. You know, he's equal second with like three other players for um in that second spot. I'd probably maybe see Swiderski, but my preference in like that game would be Desses. Have him ready, make him your number one striker. Especially if there's now talks of maybe offloading Swiderski, I'm on board with that. If we can get a good value and start utilizing Desses.
If the fee's there for Zudevsky, it's worth looking at.
Yeah. Anything like 4 or 5 mil. I think we only paid 1.9.
Definitely.
I think 2 million was the final fee. So be interesting. Um, so yeah, that brings us to the end of the football side of things. Now we can talk about the basketball side. So we'll go chronologically. Panathinaikos played against newcomers. Yes, Mykonos away. I reckon most players would have been disappointed that they're not playing them in the summer. Um, we did beat them away 75 or 65 to 78. Um, yeah, Kendrick Nunn starred. Samodurov played a star role as well in there, as well as TJ Shorts getting some handy points as well. Um, I'll touch on Samodurov. I always buckle his name for some reason. He's getting big raves, especially for Greece. He's had two good performances in the Qatar, was it the Qatar, the World Cup qualifying against Portugal and who they beat, another team who they beat a couple of days ago. But his name is obviously getting the talk of the town in terms of his performances. So it's good to see. He's only like, what, 19, 20 or something. He's still very young. He's got a very good future ahead of him, even, potentially even NBA, to be honest. If he continues his rapid rise, he's getting a lot more minutes as well under Ataman compared to last year where Ataman was really holding him back, which is good. We'll go to the next game, which was the blowout win over Partizan, and it was Obradovic's last game. We beat them 91 to 69. It was fairly close at halftime, 4 point game. And then we went on like a 25-0 run, something like that, something ridiculous where we just absolutely torched them. It was a 25-6 third quarter, and that pretty much ended the game with the none went off. 26 points. You've got Rogavopoulos coming in, He's a very handy shooter. He's a good threat and he can play well. And obviously, Juancho, 15 rebounds, doing a lot of the defensive work. But, a lot of the team has really picked up since, Fareed has come into the squad. It's like a resurgence, the way that we play, just rebounding, the big dunks that he does, the big plays that he does. It's kind of very Lesort-esque. So when Lesort comes back, we're gonna have two of these beasts there, just like rebounding and that physical presence that, you know, the modern basketball game really has moved away from. Fareed was a very good rebounder in the NBA, but the game's moved away from that style of center there. Um, so it's good that somehow Ataman's made it work for us. Did you guys catch any of the basket? Anything?
Yeah, caught the Partizan game, and yeah, that 25 to nil run was just crazy out of control and very unlike an Obradovic team to allow that sort of run to happen. So, although in saying that, the Partizan fans are very sad to see him go. So,
Yeah.
respect to him and the legacy he leaves. But the Manimal, Fareed, geez, he's transformed his team. What an absolute legend, and how much fun is it to watch him play, and just that energy he brings to the court. It's fantastic.
And he plays with a smile on his face as well. That's the big
Yep.
thing.
And the energy in the dressing room as well. Like in some of the clips they've shown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really bought into the culture and he's brought in his own persona as well. Like I said, it's like very Lesser-esque.
Yeah. The other thing as well is just TJ Shorts. Slowly, he's getting better and he's creating more of an influence. And I think probably more so at the moment, he's learning more so how to use him effectively and in conjunction with Nunn. So I think Nunn's probably got more of less of a selfish game to the games he plays. And I think slowly we're getting a better balance. Is probably the best way I would describe it.
From where we were a couple of weeks ago, massive improvement. After that Red Star loss, I genuinely feared the worst. But we're right back on track now. This huge win hopefully does wonders for our confidence. Shorts slowly but surely getting there, and Nunn was also very good in this one.
Now, the next game is not it's very tough game. Now, with that win, we're equal first because Upperwell and Red Star dropped games, but we
I
do have
think they're a win ahead of us.
no, we're
No?
equal with Red Star and
Okay.
Upperwell. Now,
Okay.
we've got Valencia next, who are sitting one win behind us. They're on a pretty decent run at the moment, and they're coming equal first in Spain with Real Madrid. So, um, at the start of the season, you'd probably chalk this down. Yeah, easy win, routine win. But I think what's shown with their performances and their results, this is going to be far from a simple match. Um, we are playing them in Athens, which is the positive thing, but um, I think this is going to be a very tricky game. Yeah,
We did just beat him over there in Spain,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and
They've
if I recall correctly, we were winning by a decent margin, and then we had a bit of a brain fade in the last 30 seconds or so, and almost cost us the game.
Yeah, but since then they've really come alive. Now, to be honest, I don't know a lot of these players, whilst, I do have not sound, I've got good knowledge of the NBA. I don't really recognize any of their players, so obviously they've got them like, maybe coming through the college system, a couple of that, just looking at their names, but on paper we are the class team. So we hope that kind of form will carry us through. Then apart from that, if anyone requires any soccer or basketball orders, Panathafan will be going to Greece. Won't be on the next pod, but um,
Dijeros.
just yeah, just give him your orders and he'll pay for it because he's such a nice guy. He won't even charge you.
I'll follow the lead of the marketing department of Panathinaikos Football Club. So, no deliveries to anywhere outside of Greece, even if you pay a hefty delivery fee.
€50.
More than a jersey. The delivery fee is greater than a jersey. How's that? Uh,
Marketing, marketing. But yeah, you did say that you will be watching. Unfortunately, not any football. It does not align, but you will catch a EuroLeague game.
Yeah, so we are watching the Hapoel game, and didn't know it at the time, but Hapoel joint league leaders, so that should make for an interesting game.
Yeah,
Mm.
they got Misic. They got some good players. Misic
Can
is a
I? Yeah, I was going to say, can I just quickly call out our former player, who I think he may be still aligned to us, Neokli Avdala, or Neo as the Americans call him, who seems to be doing very well playing college basketball in the US.
yeah. They reckon lottery pick. So that's yeah, lottery pick. So he's killing it there. But yeah, I'm looking at the Hapoel team. They've really invested in a team. They do have some very good players, especially former NBA players. They got former FS player, I think FS, Elijah Bryant. They got Misic, obviously, very well known, who Olympiacos thought they were getting him, which is always funny. Oturu, who was at the Clippers. I think Blakeney also was. Chicago Bulls. He may have had a contract. Yeah, Chicago Bulls. Yeah. So they've invested. They've got some good players in that team, and it's no wonder that they're equal first. They've come in this season and have spent quite a bit. Um, yeah. So you're gonna watch a cracker game.
He's hoping.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the quality on the floor is going to be very good, at least.
Ah, in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gone wild. If you watch it, even there was a an account, a Wembenyama fan account, with the set Spurs in 2 years. It says obviously referencing that there's potentially NBA teams going to be playing some European teams, and it's got the Panathinaikos fans chanting. So so it's good to get some recognition. It's a bit of a cult followed account. So um, obviously got quite a few likes and reshares as well. So yeah, it's good that we're getting that kind of recognition and obviously that kind of free marketing. No fees there. That you But apart from that, gentlemen, always great to speak to you. Another fan. Have a fantastic trip.
Mm.
We'll speak obviously in the new year.
Thank
Um,
you.
Nick, always pleasure as all. Thank you for listeners listening in, and let's hope for better FC days as well as BC. Thank you.